These are 5 travel photography tips in under 5 minutes. It's summertime, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. So for this episode I have listed 5 tips I wish someone had given me before I started traveling many years ago. I recently started applying the second one, and my trips are not just more fun, but the images I take are much better. As always, none of these tips have anything to do with your gear. You can apply them regardless of what device you use to take photos, from a smartphone to a top-notch camera. We only have 5 minutes, so let's start. When traveling during summer, we usually expect long days, great weather, sandy beaches, but it's not always like that. This is where my first tip comes into play. Embrace the weather and make it play a main role in your pictures. It can even be the reason why your photo is unique. How many photos of the Greek islands with a perfect blue sky and a gorgeous sunset have you seen? It's not always like that, and if you accept that you can't control the weather, but that it can play a distinctive role in your photos, you will be less frustrated and take more high-quality images. Linked to that, summer days tend to be longer here in Europe. Don't make the same mistake I made recently, attempting to take photos from 6 AM at sunrise until 10 PM at sunset, while visiting a new place. You can do it for 1 or 2 days, but if you have a longer vacation, you need to learn to pick your battles. Being a tourist is already exhausting, and if you want to squeeze some photography sessions in between, most likely it will mean waking up earlier and taking photos until nighttime, as these are the best times of the day to take photos. Even if you travel exclusively for photography, plan some breaks in your day. Not only it will make your trip more enjoyable, but it will also leave you with more energy for the moments when you are taking photos. Because there's nothing more frustrating than feeling exhausted in the most fascinating scene at the worst possible time. I had to learn this lesson the hard way, by missing sunsets or taking bad and rushed photos because all I wanted to do was rest. Don't be like me. And talking about being exhausted, my third tip is a simple one. Don't bring too much gear. Let me be clear, because I'm talking about photography but also non-photography gear. I am always guilty of looking like a turtle, with multiple lenses, cameras, batteries, and sometimes less is more. And the more you carry, the lazier you will be to take a photo. Summers are also known to be warm, which means that if you carry too much stuff, you will be sweating all the time. If you think you need all the gear you carry, and you are like me, just do something. Check how many photos you took with each lens on your last trip. For example, out of my almost 600 Georgia photos, almost 400 were taken with a 35mm, which is also the lightest lens I have. It was scorching hot outside, so this is definitely not a coincidence. You can bring more gear, but maybe you don't need to carry it at all times with you. And we're running out of time, but there's time for 2 final tips, and this might be the most important piece of advice I have received back when I started taking photos. Don't try to photograph it all. You don't need to take the same photos that everyone takes, and you don't need to take photos where everyone else is taking them. A place can be beautiful and you can appreciate it, but you might just not have the wish, need, or will to take a photo there. Also, thinking on my most recent trip, I developed a huge passion for taking photos of the corridors that connected internal patios of the buildings and the streets. It might not be the most common vision of Tbilisi, but this is what I wanted to photograph when I was there. So go take photos of what captures your attention, not what others are photographing. In the past, I kept a travel photography blog, and I ended up visiting some spot just to take a photo to later upload it on a website with some text saying that it was an okay-ish location. Don't be like me, and remember that photography is supposed to be fun and not a task you have to remember to do when you are traveling. And last but not least, take memories and not photos. Travel photography is about the place, but also about how you are living it. So unless you are making a living from taking photos, remember why you like photographing your trips. It's all about the memories. Checking them years after and smiling because with just one image you can remember how you felt, what you experienced and what you did in that exact moment. If you add emotions to your photos, anyone looking will be able to feel them. Travel photography is not location photography. It's about you, those traveling with you, and your experience visiting that place. These were the 5 photography tips under 5 minutes for this month. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, as I'm recording one of these per month, besides all the extra travel and photography content you can find on my channel. Enjoy your trips, and see you in the next video!